It's Erin and Simon with Assets and Arbitrage, bringing you a different show today. It's very different. Our little cameo appearance is Santino Simon. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some things that we have been discussing over the past few days about Bitcoin. So, we always go in stacking, 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 stack your sats, stack your ounces, whatever else that you may be stacking and investing, make sure you are diligent in it in these days and times. So, we want to talk about maybe something that people don't talk about, but I think we need to. And it's called, what would you call it? The Bitcoin class? You tell me. As you,
Okay, okay. It's a different way to look at it.
yeah,
Um,
it's all right. It's okay.
I know, but it's filtering into the mic. So, Simon and I, we've been sitting down and we've been kind of meditating on this thing. One of the things that we do is we study people. The proper term for that is anthropology. How you doing, Will 45? Thank you so much for
Hmm.
joining us. The proper term is anthropologic study, which is the study of people, but just kind of how people think, how they move, their mindset, their behavior. And one thing for certain, two things for sure, you can, he hates that, that's why I said it. You can always lump mindsets into a profile. It's actually one of the things that the FBI does. They sit and they profile people, they pay they have a certain position called a profiler, and these people profile certain mindsets and behaviors and patterns and stuff like that. And as Simon and I were thinking, it kind of dawned on us that our community is trying to orange pill everybody. And my eyelash just came off, so I'm gonna take them both off. We're trying to orange pill everybody. And for a lot of people, especially the newbies in the space, that can be frustrating.
Hmm.
Right? You almost sometimes won't feel like shoving that damn pill down the person's throat because what they're saying to you is so ridiculous, right?
Right.
But what we've noticed is the people that we know and are diligent in Bitcoin have a very specific mindset than the people we know that are dismissive of it, that don't really care for it,
Hmm.
that are adamant against it, right? It's internet money, it's nothing.
Hmm.
And we started to really kind of dial that down and just based on a small sampling of the people that we know, but what we've arrived to, the conclusion that we arrived to is I believe, and Simon believes, that Bitcoin is actually going to produce a very specific social class. It's almost going to be like a new thing in a sense.
Hmm.
Did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah. So you're saying as a social class, what I believe that she is saying is that we will be the Bitcoin community as we already are, but as it grows, you're gonna have like your Bitcoiners and your non-Bitcoiners, and it's gonna be two different classes, right? Bitcoin is already being seen, if you have Bitcoin, as having wealth. So then, in that part of Bitcoin being a social class, you would see Bitcoin as the wealth class, and then you have the people. And, I'm not banging on the altcoiners and stuff, but they're seen as another class, right? And you're gonna see it separate. You're gonna see it separate. You guys know as that price keeps rising, you're gonna see it separate. We're in the Bitcoin class. You guys are in the shitcoin class. Excuse my language.
So, well, how about we stick to Bitcoin maxis and non maxis? Let's do that, right?
Yeah, there we go. That's nice.
Right? The maxis and the non maxis. Hi, dear Bit. How you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Stan. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, El Salvador seems to be creating that space. Yeah. So as Simon and I are looking at it, when you talk to people who are, let's call them the Bitcoin maxis. Let's just focus on the maxis for now as we continue to kind of do our anthropologic study on the different kind of people and personalities that we're running into. You're dealing with people who are, they're very focused, they're very disciplined. A lot of them have vision, and we talk about vision on the show all the time. And it's something that I think I think it's a skill or a gift that is often overlooked, right? And this is why we talk about like CEOs and leaders and stuff like that. We always refer to them as visionaries. But in a sense, Bitcoiners are visionaries. They understand the coming change of monetary policy. They're typically have a lot of self-discipline. When we talk about their vision, not only do they have the vision in forecasting or seeing the foreshadowing of the change in monetary policy, they have a strategic plan in place for that. They understand where they are in life and what position they're trying to evolve into. Bitcoin maxis. And when we talk about a new social class, it's actually quite interesting because a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you would just lump them into a social class of wealthy people, and that's not so.
Yeah.
Y'all know there's a difference between wealthy people and people who have a lot of money. Two different people, right? Sexy Red has a lot of money,
I don't.
but she doesn't have a wealth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kim Kardashian is wealthy. She has a wealth mindset. Whether y'all like her, love her, or feel indifferent about her, she's a woman of wealth, and she has a wealth mindset. She understands what to do with her wealth, how to invest in her wealth, and of course, we've they're so public that you get to see a lot of their poor investment choices.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them bad investors. It's just that with every investment, there's a risk and so on and so forth. And because they're so public, the public is on top of all of the bad investments and maybe not so much the good investments, right? Because she's kind of on her way toward the billionaire role.
Yeah. See, I have a slight pushback because when you go to, you're dealing with economics, wealth is just defined by your debits and credits and what you have. So if you got $100, that's your wealth. But people turn it into wealth as you got to be a billionaire.
No, I was
Wealth is
saying
just,
more mindset wise, not the actual
yeah,
money. Because like Sexy Red has access to a significant amount of capital,
yeah, that's her wealth.
but she doesn't have a wealth mindset.
She does not.
That's why I'm more
Yeah.
talking about the mindset than I
Okay.
am the dollar value.
Yeah.
Right? We can say whatever we want about Jay-Z. Jay-Z has a wealth mindset. And then you have, rapper ABC who has
Yeah.
access to a significant amount of capital. It's wealth. It's just that he doesn't have a wealth
Right.
mindset. He's going to be broke very soon.
Yeah, but for people, the regular people like us, wealth is defined by your debits and credits, and that's from like an accounting standpoint. If you were, if your wealth's $100 or
Yeah,
$100,000, that's your
Mhm.
wealth.
Right.
They say you have to have a certain amount of money to be wealthy, which is
Not
I do
true.
not.
That I agree with. But I was just saying more the mindset. So, for those of you who are familiar with sports, right? You have your Chad Ochocinco, who is extremely frugal. He's very wealthy. He has a wealth mindset. And then you'll have, rookie off the bench who has a whole bunch of money and he's going to be broke in 3 years.
Yeah, because I think the average NFL
Is it 3 years or 5 days?
is three.
3 years. Yes, I thought that was
get
right.
your money while you can.
So back to the Bitcoin profile, and I really want us to kind of dial into this and start looking at it since we fall in that category as a community. This new social class that's coming up. So when we talk about people with significant wealth, right, whether they have the wealth mindset or not, fiat currency doesn't have the attributes and the intrinsic value that Bitcoin has. So when we talk about this new social class, I'm going to call it the Bitcoin profile, we have an even deeper understanding of the resource of Bitcoin that somebody who's more fiat currency oriented not so interested
Okay.
in investments and stuff. They have access to a significant amount of capital.
Yeah.
To them, the money is just the money. The money is just positioning. The money is just power. The money is just kind of respect. It doesn't have these intrinsic aspects that Bitcoin also offers, in addition to, lifestyle up leveling, that intrinsic value of freedom that we understand, where fiat doesn't give you that. Fiat is a very fake promissory note where there's no promise at the end of the note, right? It's a promissory note, but there's no promise at the end of the note. Whereas Bitcoin is a very real, sound money. I don't want to say it's tangible, but it is, right? Because the tokens, in a sense, are tangible. But it's a tangible thing that's real, and it also comes with intrinsic value.
Yeah.
So because this is a relatively new, I'm going to say idea or concept or ideology, I think it's something that we should kind of keep the radar on when we're meeting people in the Bitcoin community. I think it's also a great way so like for instance, you and I talked the other day about the MLM Bitcoiners, right? So the ones who have the multi-level marketing scheme for you, when you talk to them, you realize they don't really know anything about Bitcoin. They use phrases and sentence structures that let you know that they are just kind of running a scam. They're trying to sell you something. They're running game, right? They're trying to make a quick dollar. They don't really understand the benefit to Bitcoin other than somebody told them that if you sell it to these people, you'll make this amount of money every single month. If you invest $5,000, you make $172,000 in return every month. That kind of foolishness.
Yeah.
Even when you start talking to them, you can see their mindset's very different. It's very high time preference. They're trying to get it right now. They don't really understand it. When you ask them how long they've been in the space, they're going to give you this large number, but just in talking to them, you can ascertain, like, you have about 6 days worth of Bitcoin knowledge based on this conversation between you and I, not 6 years. So, we just kind of wanted to bring to your attention on what your ideas are. Do you kind of feel that way when you go out, especially people in the chat who are willing to kind of share their experiences with us, when you go out and you're talking to other Bitcoiners versus talking to, your everyday Joe Bag of Donuts, as Stacy would say? Can you feel the difference in mindset? Can you feel the difference in ideologies?
Yeah, no coiners.
And how the no coiners. Okay, so we got our phrases, right? We got the no coiners, we got the Bitcoin maxis is what we're dealing with today, and then we have the non-maxis, right? I don't want to call them shit coiners. I'm gonna call them the non-maxis. Let me see. You guys are in the chat here. Somebody said, Stan said, great example using Sexy Red. Hi, KW1. How you doing, sweetheart? Stan said, I always wonder when you have large sums of money, how do you monitor your gains and losses? For a lot of the athletes, and I'm going to say entertainers, right? Because an athlete really is an entertainer. They play a game to entertain you. So let's just lump them all in entertainers. A lot of entertainers do not have a pulse on their finances. They're paying people, they don't really understand finances. A lot of them come from very desperate backgrounds and situations. They just happen to have a talent in the sport or the music or whatever it is that they're in. So they're relying on accountants, et cetera, to manage their money for
Yeah,
them.
but as far as speaking of Stan, if we talk about the everyday man who may have some capital, how do you keep an eye on it? And we'd explain it in that regard because it becomes a job.
It is a full-time job.
It's a job. You have to keep an eye on your capital every day. Every day. You can't rely on other people because, they want their cut, right? If you just keep an eye on it yourself. But I don't know what you mean by a large amount of capital because then you might have to talk
So
about
let's
spreading
say,
it out.
so if you're, Stan, help us out in the chat. Are you talking about maybe your everyday high income earner how they are staying on top of gains and losses when they're involved in investments. I can tell you right now that that is Simon's full-time job here in the house. When I say full-time job, in addition to homeschooling, which isn't as tedious as managing the finances, from the time he gets up in the morning, and we get up at 4, he's on top of all of that, especially since he's very particular about the amount of money that we keep in the bank. So his whole thing is he wants to keep just enough money to maintain the everyday expenses.
Yeah, so you maintain the expenses, but you don't let your money sit there because the dollar is losing value every
We
day.
don't let it sit
And
there.
we are in Mexico, so our dollar is leveraged against the peso, but it has recently been losing value against the Mexican peso. So we're losing spending power. That's why you have to, I mean, we're losing purchasing power. That's why you have to have your money somewhere where it's still gaining purchasing power. That's why we talk about silver and gold. They're not going to be 10x, 100x, but it will keep your purchasing power, right? And for people who say that Bitcoin is gold 2.0, remember, gold is meant to keep your purchasing power. It's you will get some increases, but it's meant to keep your purchasing power. 1 ounce of gold should buy a man a fine suit, no matter if gold is $200 or 2,000. So I assume I haven't bought a fine suit in a while, but I assume a fine suit might be about two thousand
I'm
dollars,
sure,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So remember, Bitcoin is an investment. It's also property in cyberspace, and it's also a way to keep your purchasing power.
In addition to that, Stan, dashboards are going to be your best friend. I know people go digital, they like to have everything digital. Simon and I are still a little bit old school, so we have physical books that he will transfer the information from the dashboards to the books in order to stay on top of gains, losses, but not just gains and losses, right? When you're not, outside of the wallets, when you're
Yeah.
dealing with like the bank and exchanges and stuff like that, shit happens. Stuff disappears.
That's a problem.
Things
Yeah.
are deposited into your account that's not your deposit. Things are withdrawn from your account or missing, or someone used your card without your,
Yeah.
and you want to catch it like in real time.
And you want to also, because continuously we come up with these stories about banks just randomly closing people's accounts, freezing them out, and it's been a lot about Chase, JP Morgan Chase, the cartel closing out accounts and just locking your money up. And especially for people like us or anybody who may be abroad, that's a big
Where you
problem.
don't have access to a physical
Yeah, because
branch.
they're gonna want you to come into a physical branch. So now you gotta go take an international flight to a physical branch and handle this when they close your account randomly. So be careful, where you keep your money. Have your money in different places. When I say money, I should say fiat currency. Have it in different places so people can't shut it down like that. Wells Fargo was known for doing that as well. Citigroup too.
Well,
Those
they're
fuckers.
tier one banks,
Yeah,
and they're
tier
all
one
basically
banks.
using the same systems, the same business processes, et cetera, et cetera. So they are going to have the same systemic issues when it comes to that. But Stan, in addition, I would highly recommend. I know people are in the digital era; they like to have Excel spreadsheets or this app. Or QuickBooks, or all of these different digital ways of keeping up with their funds. I always recommend also doing it the old fashioned way, right? If the internet's down, if the electricity's out, something stupid, you have your books where you can kind of review these
So
things.
yeah, for my old school people out there, she talking about busting out a ledger
Yeah,
and just writing it down.
yeah,
Right, old like an accountant, you just write it down,
yeah.
and
That's what it is.
it's like she said, it's tedious, but it may be necessary to counteract what they're doing,
And
so
to
that
be
yeah,
engaging with your finances on a
yeah,
daily basis so that if a mishap occurs, if a hiccup occurs, you're catching it in real time. I had read, um, did we read or did we hear when the girl got the eviction notice and
okay.
she didn't know she had 48 hours to leave.
She
She
had
went and
48.
checked her checking account to see why the rent check didn't go through. She
Yeah.
only had, but it was like, At what point did you realize that the money wasn't in there? After you got the eviction notice? Like, these, they're not keeping up with the things that they need to keep up with. Even with apps that give you notifications, you're down to your last $1,500 or whatever y'all got your apps set up to notification wise. You don't want to be so overly dependent on the convenience of digital technology that you're not on top of what's going on because you feel like you're going to get an alert. You feel like you're going to get a notification. Some of these things, I tell you guys all the time, yes, we live in a digital era. Yes, we live in technological evolution. In a sense, like they had the Industrial Revolution, we're now in the technological evolution. You still want to do things a little bit more analog as a backup, as a safety. I'm not saying you have to do what Simon does and check the finances every day. We are high income earners. We do have deposits coming from here, there, and everywhere. So he has to keep up with that. And just as money is coming in, money is going out. So he's got to stay on top of that to make sure the transactions that are going out are accurate transactions, so on and so forth. So to answer your question, Stan, you really want to, like a business, you want to treat your household like a business. You want to manage your house
Yeah.
like a business, right? You want to take that seriously. You don't want to be sloppy with it. No, I'm being serious. You don't want to be sloppy with it. I know a lot of people that I talk to who manage their household and everything's in here, and that's why the house is a mess.
Yeah, and yes, you do want to take that into consideration, being managing your household as a business,
You want to
right?
treat it like you are the CEO of your
And
household,
also, but
or the COO or the CFO.
and remember, Bitcoin is it was about being your own bank.
Yes. So you
So
have to take on
integrate that.
the obligations and the responsibilities of being your own bank. If you're leaving TradFi, you absolutely need to implement business processes in your household in order to mitigate any loss and to maximize and optimize gains. That's how businesses work.
Yeah.
So you absolutely, and that's the Bitcoin profile that we're talking about though,
Yeah.
because a lot of people that we interact with and we engage with, they run their house like that as well. We've told you guys 1,000 times in the past, we run the house like a business. We treat the children, when I say we treat them like employees, we give them the responsibility to the household that employees would have to their organization,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Everybody understands their role, everybody understands their position, everybody understands their job description in a sense. And it's important that as you are developing your wealth, you're also developing the business processes that go along with it, like I said, to mitigate loss, to maximize gain. And this is part of that Bitcoin profile that we really want to kind of pick up on, study, and implement in
Yeah.
our own lifestyle.
And we also treat it, as she said, like a business. I always like to use sports references. We treat it as a team. Everybody knows their position. Everybody knows what they need to do. Everybody knows, some people have to do more, right, than others. But as everybody does their job, um, it's right. It's right for us, right? Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. And again, Simon said part of the Bitcoin profile. Y'all don't steal that, right? Don't steal that. I gotta tweak it. And I'm not good like Zay is. They just come off the dome with the little phrases and stuff. But part of the Bitcoin profile is if you're leaving TradFi, you absolutely want to implement your own business processes, your own business operations in a sense. If that is something that is foreign to you, be humble enough to do your own research. Take a business 101 course. We've talked to you guys about EDX.
Exactly.
A lot of the classes, you can take them for free. You only pay if you want the certificate to prove that you put the hours in.
Yeah, and that part was built in for LinkedIn profiles and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so
A
recruiters
LinkedIn
and
level
stuff
can see you, but if you just want the information, you can what do you call it? Observe the class,
it's called auditing.
audited class.
So
You
you
can just
can audit
the
it for
class.
free.
Yeah.
Definitely go on there, take a business 101 course, take a finance 101 course.
Hmm.
How do businesses operate? Now, I hear in our community all the time, You have those who are adamant about employees being, like they look down on people who have a 9 to 5 job. So
Employees? Oh, employees are looked down upon.
in our space, right, you have a significant amount of people who are into Bitcoin and so on and so forth.
Oh,
But they
yes.
tend to look down on people who have a 9 to 5 job, who are W-2 employees or even 1099. Almost like you have a job. That's
Yeah.
that's so
Okay.
whack. That's so corny.
I understand.
And one of the things that, and they're typically younger people, right? I haven't run into any older people who ascribe to that. They shouldn't. But, Auntie Aaron gonna put y'all on game, okay? Everything has a utility. And I tell you guys all the time, don't run with the trends that say this is trash and that's whack and this and that. Everything has a utility and everything has the ability to benefit you in some way. You want to look at your life portfolio like a sheath of swords. Okay, so how sharp is your personal development sword? How sharp is your financial sword? How sharp is your professional development sword? How sharp are the swords in the sheath that make up your life portfolio? Understand there is nothing wrong with working for an employer, and I will tell you why. If you let me step back because I was going to say something that wasn't going to come out right.
Okay. All right.
Be open to the idea and the understanding that when you work for a corporation, even though you're getting paid, treat it like an intern, right? Learn the skills. How is this business run? How do y'all make money? What processes do y'all have in place that maximize y'all profit? What are some of the things you do that tend to hurt your profit, right? And
Okay.
you'll begin to develop certain skill sets that will help you develop your own business.
Yeah.
Whatever that may look like, right? Whether we treat our home like a business.
Yeah, that might. What I've heard is that that's a problem now because I know it's popular to be an entrepreneur, but the problem that I've heard from people is
That
that
we've experienced. Tell the truth, shame the devil.
what I just said. Some of these entrepreneurs, I'm banging on them a lot, but they come in the game young, but they have never had
I'm banging
that
on you. You're
experience.
coming in the game young and you're talking out of school.
There you
You
go.
don't have work ethic. You don't have punctuality. You don't have the skills that you need to maximize your business because you do whatever you feel like doing when you feel like doing it. They are now using the term entrepreneur as to me, a lazy way to not really go hard, right? I can work when I want to. I cannot work when and you're not sharpening your swords, okay? If you have a business where you provide a service, your hours have to be consistent. Your clients have to know when they can reach you, how they can reach you, and they are expecting you to be in office, virtual or not, during certain working hours. If you agree to meet with someone and you can't meet with that someone, somebody who's had a job and understands interpersonal relationships would contact that person and say, hey, 2 hours out, I've come up with some technical
Yeah.
difficulties. Can we reschedule?
And all this is about when we're talking about spending time, maybe as she said, as an intern.
Using your
Sure.
job almost like an
Yeah.
internship so you can maximize your business. And hopefully, your
Yeah.
first business is your household.
Yep.
If you're running a business on the side for money, right,
Okay.
that's like your second business because your household has to be priority, right? You can go in and out of business, in and out of business. You don't want to be homeless. So I'm talking about the discipline in managing the household.
Yeah, and then you manage the household. You work a job, like she said, and you learn from that process. And you say, okay, now I can start my own business because you had an internship. You understood how the business works and things like that. So, but everybody's just popping in as entrepreneurs and
Not
having
understanding the
having trouble.
foundational things that they need in order to get their thing going. when we deal with people, and I'm talking about the real Bitcoin maxis, right? We're talking about the real maxis. They're not just playing. I haven't really run into the people who are playing Bitcoin, but I've kind of seen them, on social media and stuff. When you have an appointment with them, they're there on time. They're typically very focused individuals. They're very self-determined. When they offer more solutions than they give you problems, right? When there is a problem, they tend to always have an alternative route because the idea is we can't trust traditional systemic, we can't trust traditional systems that are in place. So we have to create our own system.
Yep.
And these people, in a sense, I'm going to quote Nas, they're more solid than everyone else is.
More solid than they are. Yes, indeed.
So I would like for us as a community start looking at this profile and integrating the personality traits incorporated into your life portfolio, because you can see, your whole coiners, the people who are on the road to being whole coiners, they dollar cost average and nothing stops them. They understand that when Bitcoin is down, when everybody's like, I told you that wasn't shit, they understand like, oh, Bitcoin's on sale today. We're going to buy a whole bunch of it.
But
the mindsets are different.
Mindset's different. We've been in this space a long time. Bitcoin has been when we were in this space. What? Let's use an example. $4,500. Everybody, oh man, don't buy it. But now you see that's a 10x when you just stayed 10 toes down and kept buying it. And that's what we do. That's what dollar cost averaging is. Just staying 10 toes down and keep on buying it. Well, let's go and talk to the chat room, see what they got. Chat, I see a lot of...
Stan, you said the only reason you're asking is because Kevin Garnett had large sums of money stolen by his accountant because he wasn't watching it. He doesn't have the knowledge. I don't know. I don't want to speak and say that he didn't take the time to do his due diligence, but I would imagine that there is time in his day.
Well, I would say these guys who are playing basketball, they spend most of their time playing basketball,
and traveling.
And so maybe they can't overlook stuff like that. He's not the only person.
A lot of entertainers have had that nightmare.
T.O., Terrell Owens.
Rihanna.
Yeah. So when you have somebody, what happens is, I believe from what I read, is that you sign over the rights.
A financial power of attorney.
Yeah, and they can sign off.
They have access to your money.
Yeah. And they
in or out, they have access to it.
Yeah, so.
And many of them will trickle the money their way.
But if I could ask a question in the chat room, what type of person is that that's stealing the money all the time?
Yeah, y'all know what it is.
There it is. You know what I'm talking about.
Trying to get me fired from my actual job. Oh, somebody sent a
What's that?
What do you call it?
I don't know what it is.
When they send money. They have a name for it in the chat, like a super chat. Somebody sent a super chat.
Oh,
That's gonna go to the gentleman of crypto because this is their channel. We appreciate it though. I am DPP. But if you do want to bless us with something, you have to use our Cash App.
Yeah, we have to.
But the gentlemen, they appreciate it. That stuff goes towards production things
and
stuff like that.
It's all good.
But yes, if you guys are, the super chats go straight to the gentleman of crypto. People who typically send us gifts, love offerings, all of that other stuff, they send it to the Cash App, and that's in the drop down. But we really appreciate you.
Yes,
I am DPP. It's discipline, prioritize, and purpose. Say that again. That's in your handle. I love that. I am discipline, prioritize, and purpose. That's the Bitcoin mindset we're talking about. Those are the people that we've been talking to. You guys are the ones we've been engaging with. Shout out to Rue. Hi, Rue. He's at work watching us.
Oh, is he Rue? What's up, Rue? What up, Rue?
And
that's
he
the
said 100% Simon Knight. So I'm not sure what you said, but he said 100%.
I got away with
Okay, hear you. Okay. Yeah, what's up, Rue? That's what we're talking about.
See, I showed them.
Yeah, we got kids walking around.
Okay, this is the last one I'm going to show y'all. That's Jesse from Toy Story.
That's unicorn.
No, not the unicorn.
All right, not the unicorn. Go ahead, baby. I'm going to be there in just a bit.
Yeah,
we're going to go.
We're trying to be professional, but...
Yeah, we're trying, y'all. My business process includes my babies. You know, I got 1,000 babies running around here that he keep using me as his 3D printer, so he keep printing off his little mini-me's.
Wait for that. Just point out there, could you watch it?
Just a moment, baby. Just 5 more minutes.
Some people go hard in the paint, some people don't.
You know what, y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for me. Okay, Jake Fever. Bitcoin got my financial development soar looking sharp today. Jake, but that's
Yeah,
100%.
you got us looking. We're looking good today.
Because I've heard you make some comments, Jake, and it really falls in line with that Bitcoin profile. It's like, hey, I'll take the time to talk to you if it's something that you're interested in. But at the end of the day, it's about me staying on my square and making sure that I keep moving my way towards Bitcoin and buying as much of it as possible. Bitcoin has ultimate scarcity.
Ultimate.
Here is a personality trait, and I don't know if I would call it, I'm gonna call it a mindset, not a personality trait.
Okay.
That Simon and I run into that I have difficulty
Okay.
putting together. If you have a significant amount, let's say our silver, if they can't buy all of the silver that we've amassed over the last, I don't know how many years, they don't buy none of it. If they're talking to you and they realize that you're a whole pointer, oh yeah, I cannot, what is it, about 50,000 now? I can't
Yeah,
afford
51.
50,000 in Bitcoin. Like, nah, you don't have to buy the whole Bitcoin a day. You can dollar cost average into it. You know, you explain to them how Satoshis is the division, the unit of division for Bitcoin. You know, you're explaining that to them and they're like, yeah, nah, I'm good on that.
Yeah, that's why I always say stack Satoshis, right? I'm not saying stack Bitcoin.
But
Stack
that's what I'm
Satoshis,
saying. Like,
stack
I don't
Satoshis.
understand the mindset that we live in a 5, 6 bedroom house. We didn't start here. We started in a 1 bedroom apartment when we got married and had Sean. We didn't start here.
That's
But
good,
if they
man.
can't start here, they don't want to do it at all. Right? And I noticed, and not just with finances, but even in relationships. If you can't find a man who is going to buy you the 16 bedroom house right now and y'all are 26 years old, you don't deal with him at all.
Yeah.
So
I ain't gonna bang on that. I could bang on that, but
I mean, I'm just talking
yeah, I
about,
want to
because
get off
before
that
we
side.
made it about
Yeah.
money, but we notice the people that we talk to, if they
Yeah.
can't afford a whole Bitcoin, they don't do any of it.
Yeah.
If they can't afford all of the silver that we've done in the last, I don't know how many years, I'm not asking you to do, what are we talking, 10 years of silver?
12.
12 years of
15.
silver, I'm asking you to do a day of silver. Start with one
And for
round.
Jake Fever, man, I'm asking you to cam up and send that email so you can go ahead and cam up and we could chop up some
Yeah,
game.
because we would like to
Yeah,
like
come
talk to
on.
you and pick your brain about some stuff.
Chop
Dear
up.
Bit, big rewards require big responsibility. I have published 4 books.
There we go.
Okay. I'm gonna say my average book is probably between 90 and 125,000 words. And I talk to people all the time who are like, Aaron, I'm gonna write my book and I'm gonna do this, but I don't know the plot and I don't have the ending and I don't know how to do character development. And it's like, hey, the journey of 100,000 words begins with one word, right? The journey of 100,000 miles begins with one step. If you want to move to another country, start traveling
And you're
first,
gonna need to.
right? Go on vacation first.
You're gonna need to because it's getting shaky out there in the United States.
But we're just saying that this particular profile, the Bitcoin profile, when we talk to them, their journey is always little by little, little by little. Y'all have heard Zay's journey, right? Zay out in the parking lot of strip clubs talking to strippers about Bitcoin. He's handing out Bitcoin. When he sold his first book, I don't know if he told y'all the story or if he told us the story, and you guys might have heard the story just in passing. Zay, like most authors, was selling the book out the trunk of his car.
Yeah, and that's how you do it.
He didn't start at
and-
bestseller Barnes and Nobles.
And not to be funny, but he said he was having his book at places and with things he was talking about where the normal Bitcoin community wouldn't go.
They wouldn't go. They were actually adverse to it. And one of the things they had pointed out to us is that he noticed, and I think it's still kind of a little bit prevalent today, that Bitcoin isn't pushed, marketed, promoted, or presented to the people who need it most. Yeah. And I'm saying that's the hood for us. And Zay had run into a gentleman, and he might have told this story. I don't know if he did or he didn't. but he wanted to get Bitcoin ATMs in the hood,
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
And he got a little bit of pushback about it, but he was like, if anybody needs that, it is these neighborhoods,
Yeah.
right? You guys want to put the Bitcoin machines in Plush, Melrose Place, Garden City, New York, Indian Hill, Cincinnati, right? All of these nice plush places when it needs to be in Bond Hill, Cincinnati. It needs to be in Baisley Projects, Queens.
It needs to be no. It needs to be the Left Rack City.
It needs to be in Left Rack City. Like, that's a real thing.
I tell you.
And we really want to kind of start pushing not just the concept of Bitcoin, but I think we should start pushing the mindset with it. Somebody to sit down and give you good game, like, yo, let me tilt your crown a little bit, right? So that you can kind of see some of the processes you can put in place to sharpen the swords inside your sheath of your life portfolio. In this particular case, we are talking about Bitcoin, but I noticed that in our journey of Bitcoin, in sharpening that sword, it started to sharpen other swords. And the Bible tells us, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. We noticed that as we were sharpening that finance sword, that our personal development sword was being sharpened. Our professional development sword was being sharpened. Our parenting sword was being sharpened. And that's as important to us as our money is, right? Our parenting, the legacy that we're leaving for our children. One of the things we noticed that non-maxis don't have
Mindset.
legacy building
Yeah.
mindset,
Yeah.
because we haven't left the legacy yet. We're still building it. So they don't have legacy building mindset. And that is in correlation, is a direct correlation to high time, low time preference.
Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Saif Dina Moose, who really brought that up and put it in our face about high time preference and low time preference. Let's go check out what the people are saying.
So Jay said, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I just don't want to work anymore. I'm either going to be done forever after this bull run, or I'm going to work forever responsibly long. But Jake, in a sense, you may not, I don't know where you work. I don't know what you do for a living.
I don't know. Is it is okay to ask? What do you do for a living?
Yeah,
Jake?
I was just going to get to that. If you
don't
could explain
mind
what it is
saying.
that you don't want to do anymore. Because let's say we go into this great prosperous bull run, you'll develop a passion for something, and that will be your life's work,
Yeah.
right? And in opposition to working a job, I'm not sure what it is that you do every day. It sounds like you don't love it, but it'll give you the opportunity to develop a passion to even create a life's work, hence that legacy building. But let us know, Jake. Rue said, I feel you, Jake. Rue, you work hella hard though. So you have a whole bunch of pots running, and when that bull run hits, you're still going to find productive projects to engage in, and to work on and to be a part of and participate in. So I hear when people say they don't want to work anymore, you don't want to work in the current work that you're working. But if you fall into a passion, if you find that engagement that fulfills you, you will work at that, you will work on that.
Yeah, there's people who say when we talk about people like who go to work to retire.
Yeah.
And there's people who speak about that's the wrong mindset to have, because you often see people who retire and
They die.
they die, and I've seen that in my profession, and so I understand that getting something that you love that you can take all the way to the end. Not retire, but take it all the way to the end, right? No matter what it is, it might not even be anything that's very, what do you call it?
Like fabulous, fancy,
Or financial gains from it, but it's something you love to
luxurious,
do.
yeah. Like this. We don't get paid for this, right?
Yeah.
But Simon does consider this one of our jobs. It is one of our life's works. It is part of our legacy building aspect of our portfolio, of our life portfolio. We are constantly trying to sharpen this sword. And those are some of the things that we wanted to kind of point out so that during your day you could be like, yo, I talked to such and such on the phone about, Bitcoin, what's going on, so on and so forth. And I see what you're saying about the mindset.
Yeah.
Or I talked to a non-coiner
Non-coiner.
and I see what you're talking about,
I
right?
think we're
The
calling
conversation, where the conversation's going. One other thing I noticed about
no coiners.
I'm gonna call them the maxis, is that the maxis are on top of what is currently going on in the world, what's currently going on in their local economy. They're on top of what's going on. My non-coiners have all of the social tea, right? Who kissed who, who's sleeping with who's getting divorced from who,
Who smacked who?
who smacked who's versing who went to prison, who got a RICO charge. They're on top of all of those things. And when you start asking them about BRICS, anything that's happening globally, yada, 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 what is that?
Yeah.
They
So
don't know
they
anything.
don't know anything. So running back, we did a show a couple weeks ago. EDX, get these courses, macroeconomics, microeconomics, so that you know what's going on globally. You
Finance 101.
You sit and see people like I always say, Raoul Powell,
Mm-hmm.
Lynn Alden. These people will tell you what's
Kathy
going
Wood.
on.
Kathy Wood.
Kathy Wood, yeah, the CEO of ARC. You need to check these people out if you get a chance. If you're not already checking them out, they will put you on to the game that is going on out here. And you have to listen to this, not this podcast in particular, but this network. You know what I mean? So they're telling you a lot of things. Everyday King Bless. And,
Yeah, the gentlemen in
and
crypto
Isaiah.
have a fantastic
So,
network. Our content cousins are
Yeah.
on top of the game. Shout out again to Rue. Rue's one of the content cousins.
Rue's on top of the game,
Trek
man.
with 2Ks.
Stack.
Stack. So we have obviously the gentlemen, right? Because they have an update every day. The gentlemen have almost 1,200 podcast episodes, and they film 99.99% day in and day out, Monday through Friday. Right? That's discipline. That's consistency. That is elbow grease. Okay? I don't know what people think about podcasts. I don't know if y'all think we just get on here and just start talking, but there is a lot of work and effort that goes in a podcast. A lot of us have 10 times more knowledge about the subject, so that when you have questions, we can answer your questions and we can be competent in our answers. Bitcoin profile, I'm gonna add that. The other thing I noticed, Maxi profile, is when we talk to these people, they do watch lectures. They watch podcasts of people who are talking about productive things, right? So not saying that they don't watch Tasha K or one of those, there's another one, it's like mediatakeout.com or something like that with the trash and stuff.
I'm cool.
But when you start like, did you see such and such's podcast? Like, yeah, I caught that. And you start talking about the information that you receive from it. Simon and I are always talking about, we used to love Max and Stacy's show.
Yeah.
The Kaiser Report, we miss it. We watch Lynn Alden. Anytime she's a guest on somebody's show, we make sure we catch it, we sit and we watch it. We read her newsletters every 6 weeks.
We're reading her book. It's called Broken Money.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Go ahead, baby.
Well, I was going to say on the Broken Money, we're going to go over some chapters of her book. Her book is 500 pages, so it's not an easy read.
It reads like a textbook.
Yeah, it's like a textbook, but we're going to go over some different chapters in her book because it's very important, things that she's breaking down. Lynn Alden, man, you guys go check out Lynn Alden. She's on top of the game, very, very intelligent macroeconomist.
Safety Moose wrote a book called The Bitcoin Standard.
Yeah.
The majority of the people in this space have read it, right? They're typically very well-read people. Isaiah Jackson, as we know him, Bitcoin Zay, has Bitcoin in Black America. That's his first book. His new book is coming out, I think, at the end of this month. If you guys are trying to get your hands on that and don't know how, you can go ahead and email me. My email's in the drop, and I'll send you the instructions on how to order his book. If you're trying to get trading cards, because that should be coming with the book, I believe, but you can order the trading cards. I'll send you the instructions on how to receive all of that. But I noticed that Bitcoin maxis read technical works, right? The Bitcoin Standard is a technical work. Bitcoin in Black America and this new book are absolutely going to be technical works. And they're also resources for us to stay up to date on all of the progress that's happening in the community. Again, staying up to date, not just in lectures, but in reading material. And you notice when you talk to non-coiners, a lot of times they don't read, like they don't even read fiction. I'm an author of fiction, I don't write nonfiction. Although Simon and I are working on our first nonfiction book. It's gonna be kind of similar to having the information for a lifestyle portfolio, since that is the concept and ideology that Simon and I that's been really resonating with us. So we are partnering together in doing our first nonfiction book. I'm a published author. I've written 4 books. This would be our 5th book. Very different from writing fiction. It's very different.
It'll be fun.
So it's going to take me a little bit longer, but just understanding that you're engaging in a very specific mindset when you're dealing with the Bitcoin maxis. And that's actually refreshing. It is like a breath of fresh air. I'm sure as I'm talking to a lot of you guys, you're like, yep, I do that, and I do that, and I read that, and that's something that I do, and this is something that I'm working on. And then you just kind of be like, okay, I can see the progress that I'm making in my mindset in dealing with Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I agree with everything you said. I am not a fan of toxic Bitcoin maxis.
No, not the toxic. That's different. That's a whole different mindset.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of them. You know, if you Bitcoin, boom. But
that's very niche.
You don't have to bang on people for, whatever coin they want to invest in. You just leave it as it is.
Mister, I call them shit coins.
Well, I mean.
Okay, Teddy Harris said gem drop. Okay, can I pronounce this? Hematopoiesis. I hope I said that right. Everything you said is wonderful and true. A+. Wait, baby, because you're making a lot of noise while mommy's talking. KW1, aka Crip Work. You have to crawl before you walk, right? Children come out the womb, they ain't even crawling. It takes them a while to learn how to creep, then crawl, then walk, then run. Then they learn how to ride a bike or swim, and they just start adding skills to their skill set.
There we go.
And if it's like that in the natural, it's got to be like that in the business sense, right? They say that businesses, the app is 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which means only 20% move on to the next chapter of their business life. Now, with that statistic in place, it doesn't mean that the 80% failed and never started another business again. They use that as that failure to launch as a launch pad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To do something different, to adjust, to almost like an evolution of a new thing. And we've talked to you guys about, we had a failure to launch with Costa Rica. Mexico was really what Costa Rica was supposed to be for us. And due to a series of unfortunate events, we had a failure to launch. We went back to Cincinnati. We had to really examine the mistakes that we think we made, the things we thought went well, and so on and so forth. And then we tried it again. And we're talking about uprooting a whole entire family. When we moved to Costa Rica, there was no Tino. Right? So now, like, y'all gonna try this again and you got a brand new baby? Yeah, because this is our vision. It's something that we were adamant about. When I say we, this is his vision. This is something he was adamant about. And we were all in league with doing whatever we can to conceive that vision, that idea that he had, and it worked out great.
And it's part of flag theory. This is a hard flag planted in Mexico. We have flags planted in different countries, but this is our hard, steady flag. And so, we went over flag theory a couple times. We could do it again if necessary, but You got to plant your flags in different countries, and that way you can move from place to place. Whether you've retired, if you have your home still in the United States, you want to spend the winter in a warmer place for 2-3 months, and then you come back, right? But your flag is planted. You got your hard flag planted in the United States. Then you plant a flag in a warmer country.
And traveling, first of all, you create a whole bunch of new neural pathways in your brain. One, you're more well-rounded. Two, and you have a less myopic view of life, right? You're a little bit more solution-oriented because when you come out of an environment that you're familiar in, you're now entering into an environment or environments or ecosystems of uncertainty. And you're constantly adjusting and coming up with solutions in order to overcome the uncertainties, in order to overcome what may seem like inconveniences, in order to overcome things that make you uncomfortable. So traveling is very good. It's good for you. It's good for your children.
Yes, it is. Let's get into these
Jake
comments.
sent the email.
All right, come on, Jake. You're going to cam up one day, huh?
Ruel said 100% right. In fact, holding on to cash is pushed in the hood, and we know that's fake. Rule, in every single freaking rap video that comes on nowadays, right, whatever Vimeo or whatever like that, they always have a whole bunch of cash, right? And the cash is sitting around, and they're making it rain, and cash is all over the floor, and they're throwing the cash at women, and so on and so forth. And the people who are watching it are conceptualizing that.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that people who have that type of capital that's shown in these videos, now granted, I don't know if they could be single dollar bills to make it look like $100 bills, right? The way they're stacked together.
Yep.
It's probably got 100 here and 100 here, and all of these are singles, or maybe even just blank paper. But whatever the idea is, the people who watch it and conceptualize it don't understand that wealthy people, let's say the Jack Dorseys, the Jay-Z's and so forth, that's not what they do with their cash. Two, a lot of them don't understand that wealthy people's, their wealth evaluation is on paper.
It's on paper. And
You say this wrong, it goes down.
and
You
like
say
she
this
said,
right, number goes up.
like she was saying about the rappers and they have the telephones full of money.
Yeah, the stacks, the racks. I seen a rapper who had the bags with the $10,000, but all over the, like almost like the entire mattress was taken up, kind of Floyd Mayweather style.
Yeah, and then so when you pop in and you see an old school rapper like Lord Jamar talking about, let's have a stack of books to our ear. Let's read some books. Let's get some information. And that's what we out
But
there.
two, it's a fake, it's as Rue was saying, it's a fake concept of wealth and money. And the people who are watching it they have no idea how real wealth works and how real money works. And, if Jay-Z's worth, let's say he's worth 2.2 billion, that's not sitting in his bank account. He will have to sell assets and stuff like that in order. Now, does he have access to large capital? Absolutely. Yes, he does. Jay-Z got a mortgage like the rest of us. They tell you that. He's not buying that mansion outright. He took a mortgage out with Dutch Bank.
Deutsche
Bank.
Yeah, and he did take it out with Deutsche Bank.
Mortgage like the rest
And
of us.
if you watch the person, his name Tone Talks. What's his name? Antonio.
And I can't remember Antonio's last name. Y'all should look him up. His name is Tone Talks. His last name will come up there.
But he'll tell you how Jay-Z and other people are tied to white capital.
Yes.
So you have to do, what they say. You see,
Kanye was tied to white capital, and when he stepped out of line, his valuation went from whatever billion to a couple hundred million. Then Adidas had to come back, like, we sorry, take us back. Then his valuation went back up, and the people who conceptualize the idea of all of that cash don't understand that that's how the game really works.
Right, that's the game.
The mindset thing, and they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
They do it on purpose because what they want to do is they are subconsciously programming that subset group who watches those videos, who consume that music, to become consumers. Money is nothing, right? Go on and spend it and trade it in for this and trade it in for that. And
fiat currency is nothing.
I'm sorry. Fiat currency is nothing. Thank you, sweetheart. Fiat currency is nothing. Trade it in for this watch. As soon as that watch leaves the jeweler, it is not worth much, right? You wait, put all of that gaudy stuff on it. Simon and I were looking at entertainers who do all sorts of weird stuff to their mansions, and then they put it on the market. They can't sell it. Did you tell me that Michael Jordan's house is still on the market
Michael
35
Jordan,
years later?
go look it up, man. Michael Jordan's house in the suburbs of Chicago, still on the market. Can't sell it.
Right, you can't
And
sell it.
he paid for it, but you know, he still has to pay property taxes, things like that. He still has to have, you know, keep his lawn, you know, upkeeping of his home. And he's not the only person. And that happens time over time over time. That's why we're not big fans of real estate, you know, because we could talk
That's a
about
whole
that.
nother show for
Yeah,
a
we
whole
could
nother
talk about
day,
that.
y'all.
But yeah, real estate, it's just, you know, remember.
It's a liability.
Yeah,
before
Lil
it's an
Wayne
asset.
had the whole house down in Miami
With the skate park in it,
He couldn't
and
sell
he
it.
can't sell that. But we're just showing you that that is the programming of this subset of people in order to consume, right? When cash comes your way, when that tax return hit, you know, I'm seeing all of these freaking memes about when the tax return hit, they're at these places, they're showing you these big crab legs and lobsters, and you're like, yo, when the tax return hit, go invest that money, right? They'll show you, they got the one girl and she got her tax return in her hand, and her friends are like, hey, because she's gonna treat them all to consume some food that they're gonna shit later, and the money's gone.
Well,
Literally flush it down the toilet. No, I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? You got a significant amount of cash that you could have taken and invested so that little by little you can build your
Let's
wealth.
see who in the comments. Guess we gotta shut it down. We gotta go to basketball practice.
We got to go pick the kids up in a little bit.
I'm over
Dear
here.
Biz said, all good. No worries about the bay. Oh, Tino, yeah, that's her. He said he got passion for chilling. But we can talk. I emailed y'all to schedule a time to jump on. We got you, Jake. I'll take care of it when I come back from practice. Will Hobdy said we're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Casper Cooper, I hope I said that right.
Thank you.
Says salute wealth stewards. Ruth said right. Non-coiners know exactly what is going on with Monique and Club Shay Shay, right?
Uh-oh.
But
Uh-oh.
true, right?
Yeah.
They were all over the Cat Williams thing. I am DPP said, I'm gonna say your whole name. I am disciplined, prioritize, and purpose said,
you can read it.
Bitcoin is okay, but the wealth would be built greater with digital assets that has utility. The projects are solving global economic issues. Absolutely. And again, we talked about the community being solution oriented. Let Freedom Ring. Hello, family. Hi, Let Freedom Ring. Thank you so much for joining. Will 45, I'm sure it is prop money. That's why I said I don't even know if those are like real bills in between. Bitcoin Shango, what up, everyone?
What's up? What's up, Bitcoin Shango?
Oh Boy Peach. Oh Boy Peach watches Tone Talks. So I'm sure you've seen, because he talks about that at length, being tied to white capital. It's one of the reasons why we see these large celebrities don't or won't take up certain causes,
Yeah.
don't speak on certain
Certain
issues,
things, yeah, certain issues.
and events that happen in the community and so on and so forth. People look at me, this is Bitcoin Shango. People look at me like I have lobsters crawling out of my ears when I tell them I'd rather not have a mortgage. Yeah, you know, I don't like real property. And what we do is we use Bitcoin as property in cyberspace. That's the property that we invest in. That's the property that we purchase. And it appreciates in value, and it's an asset to me right now versus buying real property and it being a liability long before it ever becomes an asset.
Yeah, so you
For
hear
us.
a lot of that from Michael Saylor. If you check in with Michael Saylor, he'll tell you about the property and cyberspace.
And the
Michael Saylor.
IRS is going to, they categorize Bitcoin as property in cyberspace and going to tax you that way. So we treat it that way.
Yeah, it's taxes property.
Bitcoin Shango, any and all extra money I get goes straight to Bitcoin. Y'all keep up the great work, please. Thanks. One of the other things I noticed about the Bitcoin maxis, and I'm gonna just say like the Bitcoin mindset, right? Whether it's just Bitcoin, it's altcoins, et cetera, is that they always have a plan for their money.
Good.
Doesn't matter how much money shows up. It doesn't matter if unexpected money shows up. They always have a plan for their money. Simon always has a plan for our money. If I woke up tomorrow morning and magically received $10 million deposit, Simon knows exactly what he's going to do with it. Right?
There we go, yeah.
Rule, real estate, show later from y'all. Yeah, but the people who like real estate aren't gonna like the show because I'm not a fan of real estate. And we really talk about the alternatives you have if you're not in a position to do real estate, if you don't have the personality for it, if you don't have the patience for it. And I'm all three, I don't have the patience for it. Dear Bid, Gary Gensler was on the MSNBC today. Oh, I didn't see that. I'm gonna check that out. Thank you so much for letting me know. I want to see what he was talking about. KW1, once again, great show. See you guys again in the next show. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. We've been married 1,000 years. Do we even celebrate Valentine's Day anymore, babe?
Somebody buy me something.
Somebody buy you something? Jay-Z tried to, oh, Jay-Z tried to, oh, yeah, I ain't even gonna say, bro, you trying to get me to lose my job. But we love y'all. We just kind of wanted to share that. I'm gonna call it, we just wanted to share that we've been noticing. And I want to see, now that it's on your radar, do you notice it too? And if there's any other kind of personality trait, mindset attributes that you've noticed in addition to the ones that we mentioned, I don't care what show we doing, just be like, yo, remember that show when you said this? I noticed that this is what, the mindset looks like, or this is another aspect of the mindset that I picked up on. And I definitely, Ruth says, sorry, I know, that's why I say it. But we definitely want to know if you guys are in tune with that. Also, understanding those mindset attributes, take some time to kind of do an inventory and see what you want to add to your portfolio. Simon and I are constantly working on adding things to our portfolio, and just kind of saying like, you know what, I want to tighten this up, I want to strengthen this, maybe I want to let go of that because it's not beneficial anymore, it's not beneficial, so on and so forth. So we are going to let you guys go back to your Valentine's Day evening. We
be
hope
fun,
you
huh?
guys we going to the gym. That's our Valentine's Day evening. Maybe we'll do something this weekend.
I'm gonna go post up.
Look. My other little Valentine here ready to go to the
You
gym to
ready
get his
to go.
brothers.
Put your shoes
But
on.
we love y'all so much, and we are going to see you guys on Saturday?
I think so.
On Saturday.
Mommy does make yours to you.
Oh, I know it does make noise, baby. Oh, hi, EWNL. Peace, y'all. Thank you so much for enjoying the live, y'all. I am DPP. Thank you so much for the super chat. If you guys are wanting to do something along the lines like that, definitely check out the Cash App and the drop down. We love y'all. Have a great one. Maybe Simon will buy me something for Valentine's Day with y'all love offerings. Bye.